We live.
What's going on, everybody? It's On My Hex, episode 30. We're live. We're actually doing this on Twitch right now. We got a good set of viewers. Got the good host from LVT. Big shout out to him. Joined by Goofy and Hunter. You know the crew. We just got done playing some Halo 3, getting the thumbs back in order. Didn't lose a game tonight, so I'm pretty proud of the squad. If we had lost, it would have been bad. But we ended up seeing a few overkills. Couple. There was a 2-for-1 involved. Everybody was making plays across, so good times. How we doing, boys?
Doing good, man. Yeah, like you said, had some good games. I hadn't played with Wes. I haven't played with you in God knows how long, but I feel like we used to.
I've been waiting for my PayPal to update, and I still don't have the last payment that you owe me. So I just figured.
Yeah. So no, man, it's but just a quick recap of my week. It was actually crazy. I live in Houston, Texas. So in case you guys, I'm sure you guys saw it, but Texas this last week had a crazy week. Power outages, shortage of water, just a tough time. But you know, with dealing with the power outages and no water, it was tough this week. But thankfully, everything's back. I got my water running, my power's back, so that's good. But good week. Had fun playing some Halo 3. Justin, what about you, man?
Yeah, I was sharing with Wes off stream. Like, this week was good. I had some like random extra things that I added to my plate that made it feel like a little bit weirder, like my normal rhythm was thrown off a little bit. But sometimes that's good, you know. But man, dude, my heart goes out to you guys out there in Texas, bro. I've just been hearing about all the craziness, you know, from Marcus as well, alumni, my teammate, and you know, some of you guys losing power and losing water, and folks, you know, just literally a lot of families trying to, you know, just power through and, you know, survive, which is crazy. You know what I mean? It's definitely not like a joking matter that you guys have had to go through. So glad that you're safe and healthy over there, Faisal. Also, too, I mean, tonight was a blast. I mean, we jumped on. We finally got the game together. Folks have been looking for us to play together for a little while to get the On My X squad going. Didn't drop a game, so y'all got to bring better competition next time, obviously. You know, good to play with Wes. I was saying, I don't even know the last time that I got to game with Wes, but he was hitting some triples. Faisal hit a 2-for-1. Your boy had to freaking, you know, drop the extra as well. So we got some clips as well for all of us. And yeah, like Wes was saying, we got a massive, awesome host from Louis V. Titan doing our first ever live show. So I'm pumped to jump into the recap. Today was actually a pretty full day for Halo and HCS stuff. I figured we would start things off with a quick recap of the Halo 5 Open Series that just went down, and in the finals, taking home the dub, one of Faisal's boys over there, Rami, Bards, Vetra, and I don't even, who's their fourth? I'm blowing it. But yeah, that team took down, not only that, they beat Rain and Rain. I'm spacing. It was Rain, Sparty, Musa, and Name. Yeah, they beat them in the semifinals and then went on to win the finals 3-0. So a great showing out of that team. They were called Scared Money. And then in the finals, you know, they played UE Dragon, JK, those guys just becoming, you know, household kind of top AM players. So right off the rip, Faisal, how you feeling? Your boy brought home the dub.
Yeah, no, I think if you guys remember at the beginning of the season, I put out a little video with HCS, and I was just joking, talking about it before the show started. But I mentioned Rami and Bards, you know, being a duo to look out for. You know, I know obviously Rami has the experience. He's been there, done that. And, you know, Bards is just a nasty, you know, one of those up and coming players. So I think I'm happy that duo, you know, was able to make it through today. But ultimately, I think, you know, their goal is to try to get a top 8 placing in the pro tournament. That's really what they'll be going for. So let's see if they can do that. And I am surprised that that Spartans, sorry, I'm blanking just like Justin. I am surprised that, you know, Spartan and Rain's team didn't put up like a bigger fight. I think, you know, those guys really obviously have had a lot of success in Halo 5, and lately, I mean, maybe their heart's not in it. You could say whatever, you know, there's a bunch of excuses I'm sure that people can give for that roster, but I am surprised that they're kind of falling flat. That's twice now, you know? So I don't know.
Wes Price, are excuses acceptable?
I just think it's an odd group of like collected players, like especially the specific team that played today. Like Musa is a good player in his own right, and so is Name. But like when Ryan, or it's like when you're missing Ryan, especially if you're Rain, and you've been playing with Ryan for so long, like you're missing that like core like knowledge of at least what one of your teammates is doing at all times, right? Like the cohesiveness probably wasn't there. Not really an excuse because they probably had the most talented roster, arguably, in the AM bracket. But at the end of the day, um, they fell short, and I don't think that they probably care too much about the AM Cup. Although you do want to see those guys win it, because
They're proven pros, right? It's
well, I
like
mean, like
you'd expect that.
we always think of Sparty and Rain, especially have that like power to break into potentially the top four sometime and maybe upset one of these top teams one day. We always talk about Ryan Noob's team, like those guys being able to do that. When they're not able to win the AM Cup, that's a scary thought in the back of their heads, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's like, how much are they practicing? How much effort are they putting into it? Because, Sparty's probably tweeting something like he doesn't play the game or whatnot. So,
I haven't checked his Twitter actually. I'm curious to see if he tweeted anything after the tournament.
hopefully it was
Um,
positive. I know he said something about being positive. So,
Yeah, I'm surprised that like he would be one of the ones to keep playing. Like, you know how Ryan obviously is not playing, King Nick's not playing. I'm surprised that Sparty, the one who usually is the guy like, roasting the game, is the one that decided to keep playing with Rain and whatnot.
I'm surprised, honestly, like the fact that Ryan was practicing and playing going into the first week of the tournaments, and then he was playing with Rain, and they were playing with their full team. But then I'm surprised that Rain continued to play, but Ryan didn't. Like that's a little odd to me, especially because we had Ryan on the show too. He always talks about how him and Rain like do so much together. They'll play random games together. They'll always try to find stuff to compete in and have fun in. So I feel like this would have been a perfect opportunity for them to kind of get back into that swing of things. But to be fair, they are doing it on the Halo 3 side, but I think they kind of should have taken advantage more of trying to compete in Halo 5, especially if one of them already is. But again, I mean, to each their own. What I did want to talk about also is going into next weekend for the pro tournament. Are we going to see a KCP repeat?
Oh.
I personally find it hard to put it past putting them at least in the finals. I think they'll make it back to the finals again for sure, but I don't know if they'll be able to win back to back. Wes, what do you think?
I don't know what the bracket's going to look like, but
Yeah,
I
that's a good
don't think
point
that they're
too.
going to repeat. I think that they'll definitely get top four.
They always get
potentially
top
can find
four.
it.
They
Yeah, they
always
can
get
find
top
themselves
four.
in the finals. Like you said, they can repeat. Um, I think Sentinels is kind of pissed off that they lost to KCP. I think that they want to win one of these things. So obviously, I think that they're going to go in as a favorite, even though they lost the finals of last. KCP right behind them. Cloud9 put up such a good fight against Sentinels. Went to game 5 last tournament around. So I expect Cloud9 to step it up. I've seen Cloud9 guys like Eco's been streaming this past week, so he's been playing a little bit more Halo 5. I've seen Stellar on playing in the 8s that they're playing in, so wouldn't surprise me if maybe this is Cloud9's week. But it's always going to be a toss-up in who comes to play on that day with those top 4 teams, in my opinion.
Well, not to mention, like, you guys know this from experience. I know this. Like, once you win, it goes one of two ways. It's either you now have like this drive like you've never had to want to feel that again, or you end up kind of being like, oh, cool, like we did it, and you can kind of let your foot off the gas a little bit. So I'm interested to see like which route KCP will kind of take. When they got that win last week, it was pretty convincing, but they were all playing like on fire. They were literally on top of their game. So like, I'm interested to see, like, are they going to be able to recreate that level of play from all 4 guys, or is a team like Cloud9 that's still hungry, still hasn't won one of these things, going to finally put it together and close it out? Like you said, Eco playing and streaming, like that's a tell sign right there that, they're wanting to take it more seriously. I'm interested to know what the chat thinks. Obviously, let us know if you guys think KCP has a shot at repeating. There was one other thing that just happened today that I wanted to briefly touch on before we go into our first fun topic, and that's the draft tournament that just went down. So, Penn Halo, they've been crushing it, putting on all these different tournaments. I love the draft format because, whether or not you're a pro player or someone kind of getting into the scene, you have a shot at winning and being competitive, having competitive matches instead of getting stomped by Sentinels every week. And so in the finals, we ended up seeing Employees team win, which was Employee Pikachu Pot Pie. I got to pull it up, actually. Hold on a second. Employee Pikachu Pot Pie Adamant and Defy Alex ended up winning that. In the finals, they took down Nikoski's team. Shelly obviously there doing his thing. But cool to see them win. Also fun to see like Shelly. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, he was like talking some trash, like which is not the usual for him.
Yeah, he's usually quiet.
He's been going in on Twitter here and there, but go ahead.
Yeah, he was throwing a little trash talk towards, I guess, Riot Talk or something. So something must have actually gone down, because Shelly's not the guy that like goes out of his way really to like ruffle feathers or like stir the pot. But yeah, I don't know, like someone must have really gotten to him. Go ahead, Faisal.
No, yeah, I mean, shout out to Pikachu Pot Pie and the squad, for winning the draft tournament. And Shelly, obviously, nasty at Halo 3, so not surprised to see him, back in the finals there. But to circle back around really quickly for next weekend, I personally, just to give my my thoughts on it, I think Sentinels is really going to come out really strong. I just have a feeling. I think the fact that they made it to the finals and kind of lost the way they did last time around, that's kind of, if history has taught us anything, Sentinels is going to come back and have a kind of a dominant tournament. So what I am curious about is to your point, Justin, is Cloud9 going to,
Only a matter of time, right, with them?
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like we keep saying that. We have to. When are we gonna have to ask the question? Like, is Shotzi just irreplaceable? Like, is Shotzi just was he just irreplaceable? And now that he's not there, they're not gonna be one of those teams that can win these things. Maybe they're gonna be like their ceiling. Maybe their ceiling is something like top 4. I personally don't believe that. I think that they have enough talent on this roster to win a tournament. I would like to see it in Halo 5, but even going into Infinite. But we, like you said, Wes, we've been saying this time and time again. Maybe there's a deeper rooted problem there. So
I think answering the quick question is yes, Shotzi is irreplaceable.
I was gonna say the same.
And to think otherwise is insane.
Yeah.
We have not seen a Shotzi before, and we won't see another Shotzi. That being said, like that roster still has enough talent to get a win, just not nearly as consistently as they would if a player like Shotzi was alongside of them.
I mean, can you imagine what it would be like to be Eco, like sitting there at an event and having like Renegade on one side of you and Shotzi on the other side? Like, what that must do to your confidence, bro? Like, come on,
dude. When you're as good as Eco is, like, Shotzi better be looking over at you and saying the same thing. Like Renegade, like give me Eco over Renegade some of the time. Like, two different players, two different play styles. I know Renegade's like a more of a dominant slayer, but like Eco's just as important of a piece as the other two guys.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to downplay his role. Go ahead.
What's interesting about that roster is someone we don't talk about on that team. Well,
Stellar.
Stellar. So what? Obviously, B, like we've known him he kind of came on the Halo 5 scene, and remember he was on Optic, and he kind of got a lot of like notoriety and just
being just an individual god at the time,
for being really good and kind of trying to, basically he was like the hard carry on that Optic team. Essentially that's what it was. Like he was on that,
absolutely.
And the other three were like trying to keep up, and he was carrying, and then
they were trying to stay relevant.
So everyone came to know Stellar as like a really good player that way. Obviously then he goes on to Splice, and they have that dominant team. Is Stellar someone we need to be talking about more?
No.
Like, is he somebody that needs to kind of step up a little bit? Is he someone that needs to really, maybe transition into that player that the team can lean on?
I don't know. Stellar's just so consistent, it feels like. I always think of Stellar as just like a rock solid slayer. Like, he's going to be able to win his fights. If he has first shot, he wins his fights. Like, he's insanely and individually talented. And to your point, we don't talk about him like we talk about the others. It's because Renegade always has the power-ups and power weapons. Shotzi was always super flashy. Stellar's not the flashiest player. He's just like consistent,
rock
like
solid.
Steady. He reminds me of like a much better Destin style of a player. Like he's
Destin
always
was
like,
nasty.
Destin was
really good.
Team with Destin. I'm
So
very
a much better Destin.
Yes, I think Stellar is a much better Destin.
Destin was nasty.
Yeah, I mean, here Mark Owns Your Face in the chat said that Shotzi is the highest level player we've seen in the HCS. Only other person come close to him is Frosty. I mean, it's so hard to replace that, but stellar. I mean, these were the pieces
Yeah.
that were around them that made them successful. You know
I think
what I mean?
that's a really good take by Mark owns your face.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement. I think Shotzi is the highest level player we've seen so far in the HCS. I genuinely believe that, and I
Yeah.
think the player closest to him is Frosty. I completely agree with that statement, Mark. Personally,
I absolutely agree as well. Well, I want to jump into a fun topic real quick before we start our viewer Q&A. Let's try to keep our answers short-ish because we could literally talk about this all night. But our topic for today is our own personal top 5 favorite teammates. So the way it's going to work is we're just going to each go around. We're going to give our number 5. We're going to give our number 4 and each go around the circle. And we're not talking about best or greatest, but our favorite for personal. Could be any number of reasons that could factor into that. Wes, do you have your number 5 ready?
I don't have them in any order, but I can kind of give them to you in, I guess, that. I think 5 would be.
Wait, does it count? You have to have gone to a LAN tournament with them. Like you have to have compete or any tournament. Because I've had a lot of teammates, but I never ended up sticking it out with them until the end. Till the tournament came.
Yeah. What do you think, Wes? Do you think we should do LAN
You just
only?
admitted you were shady.
No, dude, the hand bracket, it's a tough time.
What do you think, Wes?
Pick 5 teammates. It's not. Quit making this question hard, Basil.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, we do need the sub button, by the way, Han. We will get there. All right.
My number 1 or my number 5, I'll probably just put Richie Hines. I think our play styles were so similar because on my come up as like a top 16, top 12 kid, Richie was actually helping me kind of form my gameplay, going over theater with me, teaching me how to play, and we saw the game in a very similar light. When we were able to team with each other, we were always together. We actually like got a duo nickname from Puckett in the middle of a game because we were playing Final Boss, the God Squad Final Boss. And we stopped Richie and I 2v4 3 different times on pit to stop their flag runs completely. Gosh. And so Puckett was like, Hines and Clutch, the defenders, do it again. And it's like when we watched that, we are just like hype as hell in the hotel room, like the defenders, baby. Like
yeah, dude. Yeah.
So we felt good. We always saw the game in a similar light. I thought he was like, you want to talk about Richie as an individual Halo player. He could do it all, and did it all efficiently. In his prime, he was the best player in the game, right?
And a rad
best player
around,
09. Absolutely insane. Always made the right decisions, so it was very easy to play with him. Because we saw the game so similarly that I always knew what Richie Hines was doing. Like if I saw him pushing through green, and I'm going through camo, I know that we're about to work together, neither side, and all of this is understood information that I don't have to communicate, and we can kind of leave space for other stuff to be said. So definitely him.
Love that. Go ahead, Faisal. Number 5. You got.
Oh, we're going 5 and then 4.
Yeah.
And
so
then...
keep it. Try to keep it kind of short. Otherwise, we're gonna be here all night. Yeah.
Wait. Do you think? Okay, we'll do it this way. Okay, we'll do it this way. So for me, and just similar to Wes, this isn't I wouldn't say 5th is the 5th on my list. It's just one of the 5. So in no particular order, 5 one of the 5 for me would be legit. If anything, he'd be first probably. He would probably be the person I could comfortably say was probably my favorite teammate. So he's one of the 5 for me. Just because.
Faisal just started with number 1 right off the rip. Just here's my favorite.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it's not in any particular order, but he is my favorite teammate, I would say. But yeah, just because super seasoned player by the time he started teaming with me, so I feel like I got to learn a lot of some of the Halo fundamentals. I mean, not to say I didn't already. He just helped me sharpen those skills, and he was super fun person to hang out with. Great teammate, great laughs. Obviously, insane Halo skill, and just such a legend. So legit is one of the 5 for me.
For sure. My number 5, I think I'm gonna give it to Arcanum. For a number of reasons, but he was my first LAN teammate ever. We went to our first tournament together, Charlotte 07. So being able to go on the journey with someone through a number of years is amazing, and then seeing him kind of break out in Halo 3 and go pro and all that. But we always ended up teaming, probably once a year, if that. But rad dude, and to share our first ever tournament together is just special. So he would be my number 5. Go ahead, Wes.
Number 4, I'm gonna have to leave somebody out that I don't want to leave out. So I'm gonna have to give an honorable mention at the end of this.
Same.
Number 4 is probably APG. APG, I mean, I've known APG since he was 15 years old, since he came up to me with a hot dog in his hand and asked to eat with me. Unbelievable individual talent. And I saw APG transform and evolve while teaming with him. And that was like part of the struggle as teaming with him was when I found him, he was like, I'm just gonna challenge everything. Like my life doesn't matter. I'm aggressive. I'm always pushing. Like especially Guardian Ball. Like I legit had to yell at the kid because he would just go under glass every spawn. And then on Zealot, we would play. And then where I'm teaming with him in early reach, and it's Zealot bomb, and he refuses to learn the nades to nade the bomb guy from underneath the base. Like refused to learn him. He's like, no, those are too hard. I'm not gonna learn them. And I'm like,
Oh my
Brad,
gosh.
if you do not know these, and you are in a position at a tournament to kill the bomb guy, I'm going to rip the controller out of your Xbox and strangle you. A lot of hard times with APG, but man, were they good times too. He's become one of my best friends in my life. From it, like I said, his talent speaks for himself. His career speaks for itself. But him as a teammate, the best thing about APG as a teammate was that he wanted to win as bad as I did, and he wanted to grind as bad as I did. So it was always like we would grind till like 4 or 5 in the morning, and APG would call me at 2 in the afternoon and say, "When are you getting on?" And I'd literally roll out of bed and I'd be like, "I'm getting on now." And we'd just play again till 4 in the morning. So we had a good little system going where we like pushed each other.
Love that. Go ahead, Faisal.
So, another one of my 5 favorite teammates would have to be Gilkey. I have to put Gilk Dead in there, man. I haven't met a single person. Well, yeah, to be honest, I mean, I really haven't met anyone that doesn't like Chris Gilk.
Dude,
He's such a lovable,
We love that,
such a
dude.
good He's like a
such a
teddy bear.
lovable character, man. And
Hey, and
he's
there
been
he is.
around the Halo community for the longest time. Even the TLN days, the LAN network. You hear Tots' stories about Gilk Duds. Going in the snack room, coming out with the goodies. So he's always just been a good dude and nasty at the game. Obviously, I won a tournament with him. I actually I moved into this new apartment. I got to hang our trophy, above my setup here. I've been putting it off, but he definitely would be one of the 5.
My number 4 would probably be, I'm thinking Trey. We teamed
Trey.
we teamed like
Y'all were at a wedding together, right?
Yeah, he was in my wedding and I was in
your
his,
wedding,
so
and
it's
you were
like
exactly
that level of like just bonding inside and outside the game. But he came around and he went pro in Reach on Pure, and they decided to part ways from him and whatever. And when he literally didn't know a lot about me, was like, I vibe with you, I like playing with you, like let's team. And I wasn't pro at the time, so it was like he had no reason to do that, and so he went out of the way, and then we had crazy success, which I'll touch on later together, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, just someone that, inside the game was a great leader, great communicator, but outside the game, just like, family, brother for me. So we were in each other's weddings and had a lot of really cool experiences together. And even throughout like Halo 4 AGL days, we were teaming, rocking together and having a good time. So that's my number 4. Get on to number 3, Wes.
My number 3 is Scotty, aka Cloud.
Scotty too hottie.
We knew he was coming. It's
a great one.
That was my duo. When I look back on Halo and I think of like who am I playing at $1 billion 2v2, you tell me who we're playing. We got to come out on top. Give me Scotty. We'll figure it out. I had never had as much confidence in a teammate as I had in Scotty. Not only did when he teamed with me, at his point in his career here, he had just gotten top 4 a bunch in 2008. I had gotten top 12 a bunch. And Scotty literally decided at the start of 09, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to team with my friends. I'm going to try and place as well as I can. But what's most important is that I trust my teammates, that I like my teammates, and that we're going to like grind and get after it. So Scotty, like right after Vegas 08, was like, I want to team with you, but we got to get you like up to speed with the big dogs. And me and him just grinded it out. He coached me up. He really transformed my game as well. Gave me an opportunity that you kind of need somebody to give you an opportunity from that. Like when you're on that threshold trying to make it to the top, like it's very difficult without someone like reaching down and giving you an opportunity to be on a team that you like can prove yourself on, and he gave that to me. So
Love
I owe
that.
a lot to Scotty. Like I said, Scotty was the best player in Halo 3 in my opinion. Never thought anything otherwise when I was teaming with him. Definitely one of my favorites.
So, yeah, that's a great answer. I've teamed with Scotty as well, and I'm. Well, we'll see if he ends up on the list. Although he's one of my. I mean, it's just like you said, man. Like you have to leave someone off of a list of 5 people. Um, but Scotty is a great
We'll have an
answer.
honorable mention at the end. We'll make sure we do one slot.
Yeah. So I guess one of 3 out of 5, or the third teammate I would say that's in my top 5 all-time teammates would be honestly Mad Max. I think
Oh,
I think
He's good
Mad
people.
Max. I
love
think
that
Mad
dude,
Max
man.
has to be one of my favorite teammates because like so the way I ended up teaming with Mad Max was I was an amateur player, right? So first ever tournament I ever went to, it was Meadows 2009. I teamed with like Gorgasm and for like all these just online amateur people like myself at the time, and went to my first tournament, got all the way to 8th round in losers bracket. And '09 Meadows, my first event when I was like 14 or 13, was actually pretty good. We lost to like Dynasty in winners like 5, I think, to make it out, and then we lost to like another good team in losers 8. And then the next tournament, I go with Severance SVR with Monix and Advent and all these guys. And we actually get top 20. I get 19th place in my second ever tournament. I'll make it short, but essentially after my second tournament, I got recruited onto a pro team, which is End
Got
Result.
poached.
Yeah, I basically End Result, like one of their teammates couldn't go to the tournament. So last minute, they asked me to join their team with like a week left until the tournament. I obviously agreed because they're a pro team. And we go to the straight ripping mansion in Florida to land like the week before. So I literally get picked up by this team. I'm coordinating with all the members. Like I'm buying a flight to Florida. At the time, I'm really young, so my brother has to chaperone me. So he's has to like come along and get a flight to Florida with me. And I just remember him, like Mad Max, being super like helpful because I was so young at the time, and it was almost like intimidating to be in that atmosphere, like in a house with Straight Rippin, like practicing for a tournament in pro bracket. Like it was so new to me, and I was so like almost overwhelmed. But Mad Max was always like the cool guy, like the cool cat. He'll always just like talk with you, and he was always able to kind of make me be easy, I guess. And just a funny person.
He's funny.
And he's good people. But
He
he
used to
has
just
to be one.
always like he used to always go out of his way to make someone like feel like they mattered. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's
Like
he's a good guy.
if he saw someone by himself at an event, like he would pull over whatever he was doing, talk to him, hang out.
Mhm.
Like he was just an
Very
amazing
nice,
dude.
yeah.
So love that guy. Love that pick. My number 3 pick is Frosty the Truth, George Polk.
Georgie Porgy.
I don't have. I could talk about this dude for an hour, but like my first local LAN memory is like going to a local tournament and seeing young Frosty when he was younger and a lot more reckless stand up and scream at Straight Sick, and because Corey was 12 and yelling about somebody get this kid a coloring book, because George would just do that to people. But the first time I ever met him at a LAN, we played them in the finals, and they beat us. Obviously, he used to have like these stacked, crazy local teams, and he came over to me afterwards and he was like, "Man, like you're super skilled, but you are so stupid." Like, like that was like my first time
Sounds
ever
like something
talking
George
to him.
would say.
And
Yeah, it is.
from then on, like he added me. He would help me get in lobbies, when I was coming up, and eventually getting the chance to team with him was amazing. But the thing about him was like he used to always go out of his way to help improve the players around him, and he would kind of bring everyone in like a little family, like myself, Straight Sick, his younger brother Stinky Beaver, like we were all like really tight knit. And I was so stubborn back then. When I look back on it, I'm like I always had an excuse. I always would talk back about the things he was telling me, and it wasn't until like years later that I realized like, dude, everything this dude was ever telling me was like true, like right, like he was actually telling me the right things. I just was too stubborn to know it until much later on. But just a rad dude. Another guy who was at my wedding, someone who has had an insane impact on my game. I would not have been able to put Halo together at a high level without someone like that kind of taking me under their wing. So Frosty the Truth for me for number 3. Go ahead, Wes.
My number 2 is Roll 2.
Let's
Um,
go.
Roll 2 was so similar to Cloud in the way that when I had him on my team, I thought we could beat anybody. I was like, if Roll 2 has snipe, we're good to go. Like, he's gonna make a play. And I never Roll 2 is the most individually skilled player I ever saw play Halo. Like sitting next to me. And for somebody to be able to, for me to be able to say that after sitting next to Cloud in Halo 3, like I never thought that I would have a teammate of Cloud's caliber until I found Roll 2, and his sense of humor, like his ability to just say stupid things and make me laugh. He's got his own little personality that is irreplaceable. Very frustrating at times. We used to butt heads a little bit because he was stubborn as a kid, and he would drop like plus 20 bombs. But I'm like, Matt, we need you playing a little bit more efficient Halo. Um, and that was always a block. But at the end of the day, like he was always listening, always like just hungry to improve. And obviously his career's taken off since we've teamed. But um, it was like something about me being like older at that point in my career. I was like, what, 22, 23 when I was teaming with him. And like teaming with a 15-year-old like brought the kid out in me. And it made things a lot like less stressful and less serious. So loved Roll 2 for that. And like I said, we just get along so well. And we can roast each other like nonstop without like we still do it to this day. So I don't think I'll ever lose that with him, and he's a good friend because of it.
Love that.
So my list is in hindsight, I wish I would have just kept it actually in order, because now it feels like, when we get to 2 and 1. Okay, well, y'all know my list is just 5 people, my top 5. It's not in any particular order. But one person I did enjoy teaming with a lot, and I teamed with him for a while actually, was Ninja. I actually loved teaming with Tyler in the time I did, team with him, mostly during
This
Halo
is good for
4.
the podcast. Maybe you'll see this.
Yeah. Shout out Ninja. No, but really though, man. Like, and I remember I actually went over to his house, and like stayed at his crib for like a week in preparation for one of our like Halo 4 tournaments, and just super super hospitable, right? That's the right word. Yeah,
Yeah.
very hospitable.
Yeah.
Like made me feel like basically it's like my house, your house, like super, super. His brother, his family, everyone is just so so thoughtful and so nice. And he was just one of those teammates that really had an impact on my time competing in Halo. Super positive person. Obviously, we've all know the success he has now, and in hindsight, like I can see why he blew up to be such a freaking icon in the gaming scene. He just had the
Different level of
enthusiasm
energy.
for it. Yeah, the energy
It was
for it.
infectious, right? It was
Just
like
funny, always witty, like just always good times. I remember like our team at the time was Warriors. It was me, Ryan Noob, Legit, and Ninja. That was actually one of my favorite teams too. It was like such a family on that roster. And Coach Calvin, shout out Coach Calvin as well. But we just at the time Halo was kind of running in these small tournaments. AGL was like MLG wasn't backing it. We didn't have anything really at the time. HCS wasn't in the picture. So it was really Halo, just like the people that really cared about it were competing and still traveling and going to these tournaments. And, I just think he was just obviously a really skilled player, and just super fun and positive to be around. So he has to be on my list.
love that. Number 2. My number 2, still my teammate to this day, Alumni. I had to throw him on the list.
Lovejoy.
I've been teaming with Alumni now for 2 years. We're coming up on 2 years now, and I know it's like a different era of Halo, whatever, but at this point, to be teaming with anybody for 2 years is freaking crazy. And this dude's had my back since day one, always gassing me up. If you know Alumni, this guy says the most ridiculous things you've ever heard in game, in call outs, talking about spreading people and all kinds of stuff that no man should be saying about another man. And it's just a great time. And like you guys can all relate to this. Like when you have a duo who has got your back no matter what, through thick and thin, like if you need to rebuild, this guy's still going to be there. Like it's like having someone like that in your corner is unreal. And then to to win together, obviously to win one of those Halo 3 things last year was rad for us after having been grinding at it for so long. So Alumni for me, number 2, great teammate, great dude, and stoked to continue competing with him. Wes, we're on number 1 now, bro.
Number 1 for me is Snakebite.
I knew it.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you say Rule 2 and you've heard the rest of my list, you're going to know Snakebite's next. There was a level of trust and understanding that Snakebite and I had that I don't think I've had with any other teammate. And it was like a level of like, this is our job. This is our profession. We need to master this. Like, we both had everything. Like, we both thought the exact same about the level of seriousness that we were going to bring to every practice, to like post-practice conversations. Like, having Snakebite was like having a better version of me on my team. And that was a super cool opportunity. Like, I watched him grow as like a leader, and I kind of helped with that, but you could see that it was already in him. Might sound corny, but like, I saw, like, when I teamed with Snakebite, he was 15 years old as well. So I like saw basically a super younger, more talented, more individually skilled version of myself, like at 15, and I was just excited for this kid to be able to kind of get his journey going. And what he's done since has been incredible. Every tournament I send him, I shoot him a text, and I'm like, "You already know I'm rooting for you. You're gonna play lights out. Like, you prep for this. You're ready for this. Like this is why you put in the time you do before tournaments." And he's just a good friend, man. Like I said, he, like, all the guys in my top 5 I consider some of my best friends. So it was more than just teammates. It was like relationships that you're building. They're
For
basically
sure.
family. Like, I would go out of my way to do just about anything for these guys, and a lot of other people in this scene. But I mean, Snakebite is, his resume speaks for itself. But most of all, the level of professionalism that he brings was just a quality that I wanted so bad in some of my teammates that I never got, and I think Snakebite matched, if not did more than I would in that case.
Love that.
Okay. So
Khan.
to round out my list, I actually like my list because as I'm kind of like, to be honest, it's
Well,
like
no
I'm
shit, it's your
thinking.
list.
No.
You did this earlier where you were like, what was it? You were like,
Like
you
I'm
said
surprised by something I shouldn't be surprised by.
no. You said you liked something that you came up with, and I was like, yeah, of course you did, Faison.
Okay, so to round out my list, it's got to be Nated, man. Really, Brett, Robert, man. Nated has been a really memorable teammate for me. I feel like teaming with him was similar to teaming with Nated, even though they are. I mean, sorry, teaming with Legit in the way that they're just these seasoned veteran players that I got to become really good friends with, and just some of them like crazy, just being complete idiots at tournaments and having a good time. Post tournament talks. Native was always someone that I enjoy teaming with. Learning the game with him was a blast as well. In case people don't know, Brett is like one of those people that when a game comes out or when he's trying to get better at it, he's just like, we'll go into custom games and we'll just practice random jumps, practice random grenades, and really expects his teammates to do the same in a way. Like he wants everyone to really dissect the game. And for me, I always enjoyed that. And I also saw the value in it highly. So I think in that sense, we always kind of connected where we understood the importance of like the little things and just, if you know him, he's a big old goofball, man. Like he really is.
Funny.
Yeah.
He's a
him,
child at heart.
a
yeah.
good time.
And he just like his genuine love for Halo is what really what I admire too, because like whenever I'm super into something, like that's all I want to do. Like that has my full attention. And when I was competing in Halo, like that's how it was for me. And I think Nated was and has always been that way and will continue to be that way with Halo. And we see him now, always streaming, he does his own thing a lot. But I kind of respect him for that. He really goes at his own pace and he does things his way and he's finding success in it. And I genuinely think he's going to be, like a big time, hopefully for like a lot of people, he'll be a big time streamer in Halo Infinite and, just good people and a good friend. So it's tough, man. It's tough leaving people off of a list like this because I can name like literally 5 more teammates that I like loved teaming with, but off the top of my head, those have to be my 5.
That's why the top 5 is fun, right? The top 10 would
Yeah.
be easy. We could throw everybody on there, but the top 5, you have to make some hard decisions. For me, number 1, is anybody in the chat? Can anybody guess it? Nobody probably guess this, but my number 1 favorite teammate of all time is HK Mario, Halo Knight. For those of you guys who are like OGs way back in the day. The reason being was, I mean, for those of you guys that don't know, like my past, my history, like I started competing in 2007. From 2007 until literally 2011, I was getting top 24, top 20 at every MLG event, like without fail, that I went to. And you know, I met HK Mario. He was a California local. Was a great dude. He was like the counterbalance. He was so calm always. He was like the counterbalance to my crazy angry energy when I was younger. You know, and he was placing pro with Take Respect with Prototype and those guys or whatever. But in Reach, for whatever reason, you know, he decided when I decided to jump in and start playing in Reach, he was like, I'll stick with you. You know, let's do something together as a duo. And so we teamed together for over a year. We went to a bunch of LANs together. You know, we grinded it out. But where the story gets good is like right before the last Reach event, the No Bloom No Sprint event, it was literally back down to just me and Mario, and like nobody would team with us. Like to the point where I'm not even kidding. Like I hit up the Suds at one point in time and they turned us down. Like nobody.
I don't think you want to be announcing that to the world.
I'm just telling you. I want you to know how bad of a situation it was.
Guys,
I want you to know how bad it was. This is how bad of a situation it was that not even the Suds would team with us, right? And so I, you know, him and I were like, we're not sure what to do. Trey kind of fell in our lap, like I said, you know, and so we decided, you know, to team with Trey, and we picked up Revamp, who was one of Mario's old teammates, you know, right, like the week of the tournament. And like I said, after having placed top 20 basically my whole career, we rolled through. I think we lost in winners to you guys, West, to BTH, and then
I wasn't on BTH. Wait,
you
what
that? It was like Reliable.
Oh,
I don't know who else was on it. Yeah, so we lost to you guys pretty far in winners, and then for
didn't tell you.
Going into Sunday morning. Yeah, I'm trying to keep the story super short. Going into Sunday morning, long story short, I couldn't find Mario anywhere. I found out he ended up staying the night with a girl. He rolls up to our Sunday morning top 16 match. Like keep in mind, this is like my 99th time of playing a top 16 match, like just so badly wanting to like break through. You know, we rolled to our top 16 match. He's not there, anywhere to be found. I'm I'm boiling angry. You know, he stayed the night with some girl. Yes. This is why. And we have no idea where he is. And the ref is like, it's past time. We have 15 minutes left. The ref is like, I'll give you guys an extra 5 minutes. You should have been DQ'd, but I'll give you another 5 minutes. And like, Mario comes sprinting in like with this girl, and I'm just like pissed. He sits down next to me. I don't say nothing to him. I'm like, if I say anything, I'm literally going to blow this whole situation up, and this series is going to go really bad, really fast. So he sits down next to me. Game 1, we're playing against Arcanum, who's my first teammate ever, Alumni, Captain Anarchy, and Thuggish. And so it's like already like, I already got so much connection with these guys. I want to win this so bad. Mario sits down after showing up late. Countdown CTF first game goes on a killing frenzy, caps our first 2 flags for us, and we go on to like roll them in that series. And I finally break into top 16, and then we 3-0'd SVR next after that for top 12. And like,
who was on SVR that event?
It was Munoz, Gab, Filthy G, and who was their fourth? I think it was Case, dude. Remember Case?
Yeah.
Such a weird SVR. Yeah, they didn't have Keek, who was like the freak that they always had. So
Kiki was disgusting, yeah.
Yeah, so like, you know, and then I ended up going from not ever having gotten to top 16 to getting, you know, 9 through 12, and it was like a big deal because I'd been trying for so long. And to do it with someone like that, it was awesome. So Mario's my favorite teammate. He was literally like the yang to my yin. Like I was so crazy, hyper energy, and he was just the most calm, collected dude ever. So that's my top 5. Wes, give us your quick honorable mention.
Honorable mention, obviously, to Dursk. I felt terrible to leave him off. Love Dursk, like a good close friend and wife. Great teammate. A lot of passion. And then Maniac, I'd put up there too. I think those are the 2 that like really snuck out of the top 5 that I really enjoy.
Faisal?
You, Faisal?
Honorable mentions. I mean, I gotta put APG and like Cloud, I guess, because APG, you know, if anyone knows him, I didn't get to team with him for that long, but I have teamed with him. Went to a tournament with him. I mean, you already talked about him, Wes. You know, for the same reasons, he's got to be an honorable mention, and Cloud as well. You know, Scotty is, you know, my time competing with him and teaming with him was really fun, and he was just sick at Halo and extremely a good guy. So yeah, those got to be my honorable mentions.
For me, my honorable mention, gotta obviously mention Straight Sick. I only got to team with him for like 1 or 2 events, so that's why I wasn't able to stick him on the list. But just a great friend. I've known him since he was 12. I was 13 or 14, and still going strong friendship today. And Spartan, team with Sparty way back when.
The dog.
And we got top 4 together. It was a lot of fun. He's just a rad dude. Love that kid to death. So Sparty and Straight Sick are mine. But we're gonna jump into our Q&A time finally. I think it's about time we get ready. You guys get your questions ready. While you guys are getting that all situated, I did want to make a quick statement. I didn't even tell you guys this, but I feel like it's worth stating. There's some weird stuff on Twitter this week. Some videos coming out of people saying stuff and some like racism and things like that going on. I just want you guys to know, obviously, for On My X here, like we stand firmly against any of that stuff and all of that. And so it has no place in the Halo scene whatsoever. We got to do better at keeping each other accountable. We got to do better at just being better. So let's make sure we're pushing our community, the Halo community, to a higher standard. All right. With that being said,
you are correct. There are a lot of amazing, beautiful people in the Halo community, and that's the majority of it, man. There's just going to be those bad apples everywhere. But to Justin's point, we just got to stand together against all that kind of stuff and make sure we keep it out of the scene, keep it out of the community. But yeah, I mean, I want to make sure we don't get to a point where we're kind of sitting and just waiting for questions. So, let's just scroll through the chat, see if
we've got some
have
right
any
here.
questions.
We've got 2 right
if we
here.
have one, let's kind of knock them out because, ready to wrap up. Overall, though, this episode has been awesome. I think shout out to Lewis, LVT Productions, and the whole crew, the whole team over there for the host. Very much appreciated. But for being our first live show, I mean, I think it was awesome, and I've had a blast.
All right, Wes. So this question's for you. Who's going to place higher, Hunter or Goofy? Question goes to Clutch. That's from Active. Go ahead.
Man, just FYI.
We don't know about Goofy's situation right now, obviously.
Okay,
so.
It hasn't come up, but I am no longer will be playing with my Warriors team in these Halo 3 tournaments. Sadly, they have. I'm pretty sure they've officially picked up Gilkey, so they'll be playing. So I actually won't.
News.
Yeah, breaking news, guys. Goofy's been dropped.
So Goofy's a free agent. Depending on what Goofy does, I bet he puts together a pretty strong team. I'm gonna take Faisal. No offense, Hunter. I'm just going with credentials here, and the chances there. Obviously, Hunter's team has won one of these things before. They play a lot with each other. It's up to Faisal to kind of put a God squad together. I've offered a potential opportunity of me stepping in, and if I were to play Hunter, it would go probably pretty similar to the No Bloom No Sprint tournament, whatever that series looked like. I'm messing with you. But I mean, it's difficult to say if I don't know one of the teams. So
yeah, no, I mean, Justin, obviously, I love y'all's team. Y'all have a good roster. Y'all always make it far. And lucky for you, I don't have a roster right now. So if I had to pick an answer, I'd probably pick you. But no, unless I end up playing, like we'll see. Like if I end up playing tomorrow, maybe with like a last minute team. But I am talking to a couple Halo 3 goats,
making moves. Obviously,
we'll see if I can put together a little squad because I want to. I love playing and I want to keep competing in these things. And it's Halo 3, and I think it's definitely a game that I'm really good at. So. We'll see what squad I can put together. Maybe I'll play tomorrow, maybe I won't. We'll have to see though.
The scene needs you, man. So I hope you find.
I'll
the right
be here.
team
I'll be playing. I need to. I'm not even gonna say I'm gonna be streaming because I don't want to keep lying to everyone. But it's a mental thing at this point, man. I just gotta get in the habit, get in the routine. And I will get there soon. I promise.
So there's an interesting question right here. This is from Like Infinity Bajillion, and then we'll go back to Rob's question after that. But he said, I have a stressful 9 to 5, so I don't get to play Halo 5 sometimes for 3-week stretches at a time. I should be dying, but instead I spend my time watching pro competition. I find that this has actually been better for me than grinding and failing over and over. Thoughts on this process? So the whole watching and taking in rather than actually playing. Do you have thoughts in particular on this, Faisal?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of zoned out for a second. 'cause I was
You're
reading
good.
the
You're good.
So what's the question?
You're good. You're good. I can answer it first and foremost.
Okay, you go ahead.
I
I'm
think
gonna
there
read
has
it.
to, I think for me personally there has to be a balance of both, but like it's great to watch the players that have been there and done that at the highest level and to try to pick up whatever you can from them. I think that's one of the biggest differences of competing in Halo nowadays as opposed to back in the day is you have access to what the pros are doing, the decisions they're making, and the types of plays they're making. And so it's really important to obviously be studying the best of the best. However, like
Oh,
there
I
is a
see.
certain like baseline of mechanical skill that's like going to be needed to play at the highest level. So you got to
Especially
get the
Halo
reps
5.
in, especially Halo 5. So you got to get reps in for sure. But yeah, I've had moments where like I haven't played for a week or something, but I was watching and I felt like I came back better and smarter than when I left. But that's like a week. You're talking 3-week breaks. I would say you probably want to get some mechanics in. Wes, did you have a thought on this question?
Yeah, I think like watching other players play and learning from their decision making and really being able to break down film is probably the most underrated uh like quality you can have as a player trying to get better. Um like you can learn so much by just watching people that are successful compete at a high level and start to catch on to why they're making their decisions. And if you're able to kind of catch on to that and learn those qualities, you're going to improve your gameplay tenfold. To your point,
Yeah.
the mechanical skill is definitely always going to be needed. You're always going to be able to need to like gun skill is a thing, right? Even like movement in Halo 5, you're going to have to practice that rep. You cannot replace repetitions. So there's always going to be that level that's needed there, but like watching film and whatnot, like of other people, especially not just yourself, is vitally important to try and improve as a player.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think obviously to Wes's point, I completely agree. I think nothing will beat just the repetition side of it, putting in practice and really getting that muscle memory down. But honestly, Justin, we were talking about this a bit offline as well, how much of an advantage today's gamers have to literally be able to have Twitch TV be such a major thing in the esports scene, in the sense where you get to watch the best of the best and literally can see them, especially when they're like scrimming with their teams and you're watching what their opening starts are. You're watching what routes they take. You're watching how they communicate. You're watching like all the stuff back in the day. Like when you're competing in Halo 2, I mean, I didn't compete in Halo 2, but early Halo 3, or even in all throughout Halo 3 when Twitch wasn't that big, you don't know what these pro teams are doing. You don't know what the strats are necessarily, what the meta is to a T. You know what the best teams are
Mm-hmm.
doing all the time, and I think that's a big tool. And it can't be overstated, like how important it is to watch streams and to really evaluate and dissect the best of the best when they stream the game. I think that's a
This
tool
yeah.
that is unbeatable.
This is actually a big point of like debate for us, chat. Like Faisal and I firmly believe that it was much harder to break out back in the day than it is today. While I think Wes thinks it's a lot harder to break out today than it was back in the day. But question for Clutch here from Rob the Turtle. It's a lot earlier. He said, "Why did Clutch stop competing?"
I stopped competing because Halo 4 came out. So towards the end of my career was the end of Reach, and I was a senior in college. I was 2 semesters away from getting my degree. Halo 4 came out. MLG didn't pick it up.
Yeah, I
There
remember
weren't
that.
we didn't have sponsors back then. I never had a sponsor throughout my whole career, so I paid for every single event I ever went to, other than when I teamed with Tots. Um, I never had an org. I never had any representation. That was my source of income was prize money. So when there's not a tournament organizer throwing tournaments worth a revenue, I'm all of a sudden I'm 23 years old, 24, having to pay cable, food, like house, like
Just
all
living
sorts of different
expenses, man.
Mm-hmm.
all
It's
sorts of
tough.
bills. So
Yeah.
I have to get a source of income. Um, so I ended up getting a bartending gig. Finished college, got my degree while Halo 4 was all going on. There wasn't really any money in there for worth it for me to stick around. It wasn't like I was the Snake Bites or the Royal Twos of the world that could kind of like be 15, 16 years old, like still in high school, still like going about their daily business, like able to play Halo like with their free time. Like I had to start using my free time to try and be successful, right? And unfortunately, Halo kind of just died during the period of time that I needed to make that decision. So I was kind of forced into a direction away from it. Fortunately for me, it's kind of worked out in my life, right? It's
Absolutely.
come full circle. I did the whole sheriff's thing. I did the bartending thing. Um, and 343 has given me an opportunity, and I found my way back into the community through casting and being on the analyst desk, and found a real passion for that I don't know if I ever would have been able to find that if I was still competing today, or what that would even look like.
Love
Yeah,
that.
no, that's a great point, and not to kind. I know it's a question aimed at Wes, but I think that's very relatable, especially for all of us. I think we're all in a similar kind of generation of like kind of competing and trying to make that dream come true, right? Um, I think all of us kind of had that or went through that phase of that crossroads, I guess, where you have to decide if you want to go all in on something. With the ways it's set up now, the structure and the league and the orgs, it's a lot more stable and
Organizations make it so much more stable for players now.
yeah, and you can really shoot if you're on a top 8 team going into Infinite, it means that you are financially set. That's what it will mean if you are on a top 8 team going to Halo Infinite essentially, or when Halo Infinite is out. Just because of the way these contracts work with salaries monthly
Even stream, like
and
even Twitch,
streaming and all
like
this stuff, different
Twitch.
Yeah.
avenues of
We
revenue.
weren't making money off Twitch back then.
Yeah. So
No.
being a pro Halo player back when we were, in Halo 3 and stuff, it was a lot different because like Wes is saying, it was all the money you were getting was based off of prize money. Very rarely, unless you were like Instinct or something or Triggers Down, did you have those sponsors and those orgs. So nowadays it's awesome though. It's only going to get better. And I think financially, it's gonna. I wonder if it'll ever get to a place like in professional sports where it's like publicized information. So like, oh, this player signed for this much money.
Oh yeah, dude, that'd
With
be
an org.
crazy.
So it's almost like I think it will get to that. I'm predicting that one day esports salaries will be like stuff that's public and
We're starting
players
to
will
see it with
sign.
certain games, right? We saw it with like not COD, but was it like Counter-Strike? We were seeing some of the players like their salaries come out. So, all right, well, I'm gonna rapid fire like 2 or 3 of these questions, and then we'll wrap it up. This is such a fun segment. This is the first time we've done this, chat, so we're having a blast. This question, I'm gonna ask it to West. Keep it brief-ish. Best individual performance you've witnessed at a tournament, one game.
Just like one game.
Doesn't have to be like someone you were teaming with, something you could have watched and seen.
This is a rapid round.
Blaze,
Yeah.
Blaze
Ooh.
countdown flag when he was on
Infamous.
When they won that tournament. How did he not get MVP?
That
unreal. That kid
was pretty incredible. That was a special time, and he was lights out. And sitting in the crowd watching that after he had just beat me for top 2. Like I think we played in losers finals, and we went to game 11, lost like 50-48.
No way! I forgot how close y'all were, and they won the event. Damn.
Yeah. So to see him doing that after they just beat you, you're probably like, oh, okay.
It was like we were aware of how good those guys were playing that day, and they were playing lights out. And yeah, I mean, I think it's funny. TJ and I always talk about it. We're like, they may never be a player as great as Blaze on that Sunday.
I mean, I think that's the word around the block with just the Halo community. Honestly, like that Blaze was a different beast. But we have a lot more questions here. Maybe let's do one more question, Justin, and then I want to wrap up the show. We're going on an hour now. But the final question, if you want to kick it off.
Yeah, I gotta say for me, the individual performance is Karma, Sank Flag. I forgot what event that was. I think it might have been Dallas. All you old heads will know which one I'm talking about. It was the event that he literally just. It was insane. I'm looking for one good question to kind of round things out. Someone said go 2 hours. You played on host. I don't care, Alex. All right.
We've had some
Wes
good questions.
Wes right here. Yeah, or Faisal. You wrap it up with this one right here. Your top 5 players you're looking at going into Infinite.
Man, Frosty. This is tough. Stellar. Royal 2. Renegade. And honestly, I'm looking at the chat and I'm actually
You
gonna
better
use
say
that
Bound.
answer.
I was gonna
Bound.
say like
I like that.
Yeah, Bound has to be on that list. Yeah, that's my top 5.
amazing. All right, Faisal, why don't you wrap this up?
All
Get us
right.
out of here for episode 30.
Everybody in the chat, everyone in the Halo community that checks out our episodes, thank you guys so much. Truly, thank you guys for helping us continue, this journey that we're on with On My X. 30 weeks strong, 30 episodes. It really did fly by. So, we appreciate all the love, all the support from the community. We love you guys so much. Obviously, you guys can find all of our information in the description below. This will be obviously on YouTube. Right now, we are live streaming. But from On My X, episode 30, our first ever live show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back next week with episode 31. But for now, we are out of here. Peace.
Love y'all. Peace.